All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Spotlight webinar, highlighting data science and cybersecurity engineering with Professor Yolanda Hill. My name is Erin Tanaka, and I represent the Viterbi Admission and Student Engagement Office. So I'm very excited to have Professor Hill with us today to discuss all the data science and cybersecurity engineering master's degree programs. So let's go ahead and get started. So just a couple of quick notes. So you will receive a follow-up email within 1 to 2 business days. I will be sharing a copy of the slides. So for those of you that are joining us live for this session, you will receive slides as well as additional links to help you get started. And then throughout the session, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A panel to the right of the session. We are going to have a Q&A session towards the end of the session, and so we will be able to answer those questions during that time, but feel free to ask those questions during the session as well. We also have my colleague Marilyn Lau joining us today, who is also going to be assisting with the Q&A. So, especially for questions that may be a little bit more personalized, she can also assist with those questions as well. So for today's program, I will be starting out by talking a little bit about USC, University of Southern California. I'll then talk about the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. But really today's focus is going to be our data science and cybersecurity engineering master's degree programs, which Professor Hill will discuss. We'll also discuss application criteria. I will then talk about the enrollment options, including our online Gen Viterbi delivery method, briefly discuss tuition and funding, and then as I mentioned, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So just some snapshots of USC's campus and a little bit about USC. So we are the oldest private university in the Western United States. We were founded way back in 1880. Currently, we have over 49,000 students. Our graduate student number there, you can see actually outnumbers our undergraduate students, which many find surprising. We have over 4,700 full-time faculty members, which doesn't include many of the faculty that come from a variety of different industries and bring the expertise to the classroom as well. And we have a very diverse student population, so we have students from all over the nation, all over the world, representing well over 100 different countries at any given time. And we are located in Los Angeles. So for those of you that may not be familiar with the LA area or even Southern California, we're about a 10 to 15-minute drive from the downtown Los Angeles, about a 45-minute drive or so, depending on traffic from the Silicon Beach area. So we have a lot of different opportunities in the surrounding areas. Of course, whether that is internships, jobs that are looking to hire our students, but well beyond, the radius of USC, there are so many opportunities that our students are set out for throughout the nation and throughout the world as well. So in addition, in terms of the Viterbi School specifically, so for those of you that are not familiar, we are comprised of 8 academic departments. We're one of the largest academic schools within USC. And our student population there, you can see over 6,300 graduate students, which is a large majority of our student population there are our graduate students, and that includes our master's degree students, both online and on campus, our PhD students, as well as our graduate certificate students. And we are a leader in funded research, which I'll talk about in a bit. Our faculty members, 189 tenure-track faculty. We have 33 National Academy of Engineering members, as well as over 90 National Science Foundation Career, National, and Presidential Young Investigator awardees. So as I mentioned briefly, we are a leader in funded research. So we have all different exciting research going on at any given point. We have over 35 research centers, a lot of highly interdisciplinary research that crosses multiple disciplines. And so a center that we have is the Information Sciences Institute, which Professor Hill can give a little bit more insight into for those of you that may be interested in the types of research that is being conducted. Lots of exciting research, so we do encourage you to find out more about those various areas if you're interested. And so now I have the pleasure of introducing you all to Professor Yolanda Hill. She is our director of our data science program in computer science. She's also the director of our interdisciplinary data science programs in computer science. She's also the director for the Center for Knowledge-Powered Interdisciplinary Data Science, the research professor of computer science and spatial science, and also the principal scientist at the USC Information Sciences Institution, or ISI. So with that being said, Professor Hill, thank you so much for joining us today, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Erin. I was going to mention, if you can go back one
Absolutely.
slide. We have a website, datascience.usc.edu, that will give you more detailed information about the program. So what I will try to do today is, number one, get you excited about data science. I think it's the profession of the future for excellence. And then number two, tell us a bit about our programs. But please go there to find more details, and we'll have more pointers later in the talk. So data is everywhere, whether in our personal, social, built environment, or in nature. We are collecting data about everything all the time, as much as possible. Of course, in many cases, you can't collect all the data that you would like or that you would want to solve a problem. And sometimes for very good reasons. It could be for reasons of privacy, it could be because collecting the data is expensive. But even acknowledging that we have so much data about every aspect of our lives and the world, and you can use data for good, data to help people do better, be better, achieve more, feel better, and also to solve societal problems at all levels. So Erin mentioned that we have a Center for Transportation where we're doing really interesting work on using data to understand commuting behaviors. We also have a large center on understanding unexpected events and things like natural disasters like droughts and floods. And so how can we characterize those events in a more meaningful way? So there's many ways to use data for almost every problem imaginable. And I imagine that's why you came to this webinar. So when you look at understanding data, here's a spectrum of the specialties that you could choose to go in. So if you're a computer scientist, there's many careers where you can pursue very technical algorithmic ways to look at data, for example, in machine learning. All the way on the right, I show specific areas of study. So if you go into communications, for example, you have very specific ways to look at marketing data and so on. Or in political science, you have different ways to look at survey data and other kinds of data. In the middle, you see this broad spectrum of data science as a discipline. So it's closer to computer science when you think about data science across fields, so things like data mining or setting up scalable data systems or cloud computing. So specific problems that have to do with handling data that are less algorithmic and less theoretical than what you find in the computer science side. And then there's this niche that we have created at USC for our programs, many of our programs, which is interdisciplinary data science, where you learn about data science, but at the same time, you learn about the quantitative methods of the area of study. So if you're studying communication data science, you learn about data mining techniques for social media and the methods that you can use to use that data for advertising. And so as you move to the right, computer science becomes more applied. And as you move to the left, the computational commonalities across discipline becomes more formalized and more generalized. So that's how we look at the spectrum of data science skills that we try to teach at USC. So our programs, which you see here, are in the middle, the core data science programs and the interdisciplinary data science programs. And as you see, there's computer science programs that are related to data science, and programs in every other school or department at USC that are much more focused on specific disciplines or areas. Our data science programs have in the core data science column, they are independent of the discipline. They kind of have computing innovations that are closely related to data. So we have a master's in applied data science. We have a master's in cybersecurity engineering that deals with data privacy and security. That has a progressive degree program, PDP, for undergraduates. There's also graduate certificates in applied data science, which have a small set of courses that you can do in combination with your professional life and your daytime job. We also have a major, a bachelor's in data science that we offer. And then in the column of interdisciplinary data science, we have joint programs, I'll tell you more about them, that where you learn data science techniques, but you also learn these quantitative methods that come from specific disciplines, be it spatial reasoning, be it communication, be it public policy, healthcare, or environmental studies. And then we also have graduate certificates and a minor in data science for undergraduates. Next slide. What is data science and how is it different from computer science or AI or statistics? So this diagram tries to give you a roadmap or a spectrum of topics in data science. And people generally find it useful just to situate your interests or the things that get you more excited and see where they belong. So data science, as you can see, encompasses a lot of different areas that you may or may not have heard of. Of course, you want to communicate results to decision makers so that they can act on data, data-centered decision making, visualizing data, looking at the data lifecycle, how do you collect, manage, store data, and so on. So these are very specific aspects of data science. But data science also has a lot in common with statistics. So if you look at probability, inference, statistical models, all of that comes from a tradition in statistics. But there's also a lot of methods in data science that come from machine learning and AI. So for example, looking at discovering patterns or neural networks and deep learning, or the algorithmic complexity of specific algorithms. So all of that really comes from core machine learning. And data science also has a lot in common with AI. So building data models or representing problems or building models of language and speech or computer vision and perception. So there's a lot of aspects of AI that also have data science in common. And then finally, there's a lot of other aspects of data science. So how to build scalable databases and data systems, integrating data, privacy, high performance computing, sensors, Internet of Things. And so you see at the bottom connections with specific disciplines. Of course, they're very small in the picture, but this is huge, right? So in social sciences or natural sciences, there's a really significant tradition in data related research. So of course, all of those are relevant to data science. So hopefully this gives you a spectrum of where do we focus on the data science programs with respect to others. How to learn data science. So it means acquiring a range of skills. So this is a quote from the National Academies that talks about learning not just the mathematical foundations and the statistical foundations in data science, but also how to manage data, how to describe data, how to curate and archive data, how to model what the data contains, the information that is captured in the data, how to communicate results, how to reproduce analysis that you've done in the past. What do you need to do to reproduce them exactly or to extend it? And then there's a lot of ethical aspects in data, not just in terms of privacy and security, but also on fairness and bias that can crop up in different algorithms. And overall, the academies talk about data acumen as this confidence that you need to have on the aspects of those topics that you are more expert in. So typically you'll be working in data science with a team. There will be someone who really specializes in statistics, and maybe your specialization is in data systems, or maybe your specialization is data modeling, or maybe visualization and communication. So data acumen means that you recognize what knowledge you have and how that complements other people's knowledge, since it's such a broad set of skills and teams that you typically need to solve data science problems. So here's some examples of data scientists. Rather than reading through the center of the slide, I'll tell you their stories. So one of them is a communications undergraduate that was very interested in marketing, came to us, learned a lot about analyzing social media data through machine learning, and is now a data scientist at Warner Brothers. Another one of these pictures is a social work PhD student that learned to apply data science techniques to data that was accessible about children in the foster care system, and did an extensive analysis of that data, particularly paying attention to the inherent biases in the data collection processes and how to address them in social work research. Very proud of that work. Another one of those pictures is an entrepreneur that started a startup company in the Silicon Beach ecosystem in Los Angeles, having to do with analyzing data and mobility, personal mobility. So I could go on and on different areas. Another one is in environmental data science, student that is working at NASA. So each of them has different stories, but you can see that you get the skills to be able to apply data science techniques to your own interests and pursue your own passions and the problems you care most about. Our data science programs are designed, some of them for computer science undergraduates, but a lot of them are designed to be accessible to non-computer science students. This is very important to us, so that students that come to us with backgrounds outside of engineering and computer science are able to pursue these programs, and we have many hundreds of success stories in this area. Given that, we teach you the tools that come from computing innovations. So we teach you the foundations of computing, algorithms and data, the foundations of programming, and also AI, machine learning, as well as scalable data systems. So you learn computing innovations even if you come from no background in computing. Our data science community is very broad. We have a student organization that is very active. They complement our programs with events, seminars, tutorials. They're having a hackathon this weekend, very active organization. So lots of opportunities to learn with them and on their events. And then we have a center that was mentioned earlier on data science that has these semester-long projects where you can work on groups of 4 or 5 students with a faculty in environmental sciences or medicine, looking at their data and their problems and learn from practical experience. So all of these things give you additional skills that you can show in your internship applications. And a lot of our students get internships in local companies. USC is #5 in hires by the tech giants, only second to Stanford in terms of private universities. And of course, public universities have a much larger student body, so we can't quite compete. But it is very remarkable that, the big tech looks at our students, our graduates, because we give such strong programs and course education. So keep that in mind. Our master's programs in data science include applied data science, which, as I mentioned, is intended for people either with a computer science undergraduate or some other undergraduate degree, whether in engineering or elsewhere. We don't assume that you know programming or computing, and it's not going to go very deep in any particular discipline. And then we have 5 programs on disciplinary topics: communication, spatial, geospatial reasoning, environmental data science, public policy, and healthcare. These are joined with other schools at USC, so you will really get a strong education in that particular area as well as in data science. These are very unique to USC, and we pioneered many of them here, starting all the way back to 2015. And then finally, we have a master's in cybersecurity engineering if you're more interested in data privacy and security concerns. When you see the little screen, these are programs that are available through DEN. But most of our courses are available through DEN, which means remote learning access. And so we keep extending our offerings in DEN. All of our introductory courses are offered in DEN every semester. So you have lots of possibilities if you have a job and you want to combine that with joining our programs. The Master's in Applied Data Science, as I mentioned, there are 3 required courses that teach you the basics in data science: 551, 552, 553. These are if you are an undergraduate in computer science or have enough background in computer science and programming. If you do not, then we'll make the requirements be the ones shown at the bottom: 510, 549, 550, which will teach you computing from zero. Very successfully and very well, carefully designed courses to do so. This degree is available on our DEN program remotely. After the required courses, there's a range of electives where you can go deeper on knowledge graphs or natural language or algorithms or information retrieval or statistics as you wish, or geospatial data. So you can pick different topics in terms of different kinds of data, and you can just go deeper into data science knowledge. I want to talk now about the interdisciplinary programs that are joined with other schools at USC. So they all require some basic courses that will teach you programming and basic computing, understanding of algorithms and so on. So you can come to these programs if you have expertise in some domain. So for example, if you have an undergraduate in biology or environmental sciences and so on. Or if you have a computer science background or some kind of engineering background, and you may be able to take different basic courses that we teach. And then let's go to the next slide, because they have core requirements in data science where we teach you the basics. But I want to give you a flavor of what you learn and what's your outcome. So in communication data science, our graduates often become managers of data science teams for marketing or for product management. So they learned a lot of different skills in communication. So for example, theories of human communication through technology, online platforms for social media, collaboration, and also how social dynamics and behavior are affected by these communication technologies. And then in the data science side, as you can imagine, we teach you to think algorithmically, we teach you basic programming and data systems, machine learning, privacy, visualization, all these topics that are core computing topics. Spatial data science, similar data science education, but here we focus more on GIS systems, decision support that involves location-based data, and then spatial data systems like databases, spatial modeling, etc. The environmental data science program teaches you aspects of environmental studies, so the kind of data that you can collect for earth and environmental sciences, what is risk analysis in environmental systems, and then environmental law and policy that is so important to make effective change. And as you can see, the data science components are pretty much the same. So a half of your courses will be on environmental studies and a half of your courses will be in data science. And then finally, public policy, where you get to learn government data, how to increase governmental services, whether local, national, federal government, also legal challenges in collecting proper data to inform policy, and how to incorporate data science into government organizations. And the data science piece remains unchanged. In healthcare, similarly, you'll learn quite a bit from actually going into health settings and hospital settings, how the data is collected, all the way to data from personal devices, and of course, processing, imaging data, time series data, all kinds of health data. Finally, and I'll be very brief on this one, cybersecurity engineering, it really focuses on setting up secure systems. These days, one assumes that cyber threats will be successful sooner or later. There's always vulnerabilities in systems, but how can you increase the assurance for security on the systems in your organization? There's a slide on courses where you can see a range of topics, some required and some electives.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Professor Hill, for all that very insightful information. Super helpful in terms of really being able to distinguish data science from computer science. So I did want to also mention too, again, you will have an opportunity to ask Professor Hill questions, so feel free to use the Q&A panel in the meantime. I did also want to mention, just keep in mind, especially for those that are going to be watching this recording in the future, so the information that was displayed for the course curriculum as well as application information is as of today, which is April 19th, 2022. So always want to make sure that you consult the course catalog as well as our prospective student website for the most up-to-date information, especially if you're going to be watching this in the future. So now moving on to the application criteria. So just keep in mind that the admission criteria will differ by each program, right? So it's very important that you're taking a look again at the website, making sure that you're looking at the specific requirements for that particular program. In terms of the generally speaking, so, you know, an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, or hard science from a regionally accredited institution is typically required, but, you know, as we know, especially for the data science programs, for example, the applied data science program, if you have a background in social sciences, for example, but have a strong math background, you know, having taken courses such as calculus, statistics, linear algebra, those types of courses, you could also be considered eligible as well. So again, can't stress enough that, you know, check out the individual program pages for the specific details. But during the application process, you would need to submit copies of your official transcripts from the institutions you attended. Now, to be competitive, although it's not required, we do recommend a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. Again, it's recommended. If you have less than that, you're still more than welcome to apply, but we do encourage you to strengthen your application in as many ways as you possibly can. The GRE, the graduate record examination, is not required for admission to Viterbi graduate degree programs currently. So again, always checking the website for more details there. The CV or resume is required, as well as a statement of purpose. And the letters of recommendation will depend. So some programs will require letters of recommendation, others it's considered optional. So based off of whether or not you actually feel like it would supplement or help your application. And then for those of you that may be international applicants, the TOEFL may be required for English language proficiency as well. So now in terms of the application deadlines, so for the fall 2022 term, for those that are planning to pursue their program on campus, the deadlines have already passed. But you see the asterisk there. For those of you that are planning to pursue your program completely online via Viterbi and will not require an F1 student visa at any point in their program, we do encourage you to apply, or you can still apply. And if you would like to do that and are not aware of the application deadline extension, feel free to email us at denviterbi.usc.edu, and we can, give you an update regarding that information. For those of you that are applying for spring 2023, which starts in January of this next upcoming year, the deadline for scholarship consideration, which is only for on-campus applicants, is going to be August 31st of this year. And then the deadline to submit all required materials is going to be September 15th. And then if that's too soon, the fall 2023, which would start in August of 2023, the scholarship consideration deadline on campus only, again, is going to be December 15th of this year. And then the deadline to submit required materials is January 15th of 2023. Again, with the asterisk there that if you are planning to pursue a program online via Viterbi, then always feel free to reach out to us if you are in need of an application extension. So now I know that I saw that, some of you are undecided, some of you are interested in online versus on campus. So, there are, the on-campus delivery method option as well as online. So typically, now in general, this is typically, but, on-campus students tend to go full-time in terms of their program, right? So they're typically taking 3 courses, in some cases, maybe even 4, and they are usually taking about 1.5 to 2 years to complete their program, oftentimes taking summer courses as well. And then online Viterbi delivery students, because the large majority are working professionals, they tend to take 1 or 2 courses per semester, but you do not have to be working full-time or even working to pursue your program as an online student. But so you do have flexibility. So we have students that will take 1 or 2 courses per semester and then graduate in about 2.5 to 3 years to complete their degree. Or, some take as long as 5 years. As long as you complete your degree within 5 years, and you can even petition for additional 2 years, then, oftentimes, it's really flexible, and you can choose, how many courses you take per semester and whether you decide to take summer courses as well. Now, in terms of our online delivery. So for those of you interested in online delivery that are not already familiar, so the way that our Viterbi delivery method works is that the Viterbi School has its own proprietary web-based delivery system. And so what's really convenient and flexible is that you can watch the lectures in essentially one of 3 ways or combination. And so you can watch the lectures live as they're happening, typically on USC's campus or within the online environment. The great thing about watching it live is that you can interact. You can call in during the live sessions. You can chat your questions and interact with the faculty and other students. But all of the live lectures are also recorded. So the great thing about that is you can watch it as many times as you need to. If you weren't able to attend that live lecture, you can watch it via the course recordings as well. And it's very convenient. So you can watch it via your desktop, your phone, your tablet as well. And again, it's a great studying tool. And then you have an opportunity to watch it until the end of that particular semester when it's then no longer available. And in addition to that, for those of you that may be not too far from the USC campus, or if you're ever traveling for work or just visiting the LA area, you are more than welcome to come to campus. You have a seat in the classroom. You can also, of course, enjoy all of the resources, on-campus resources that you do have access to. You can get a USC ID, you have all the benefits of being a USC student as any other on-campus student would. In terms of the homework, the exams, the lectures, it's all the same. So if there's an online Den of Viterbi section, it's because you're going to have the same class time, the same faculty members, homework exams as the on-campus students. In terms of the way that the exams work, it will depend on where you're located. So if you're in the Los Angeles, Orange, or Ventura counties, on a normal basis, you would take your exams on the USC campus. And then if you're outside of those areas, you would take your exams at a partnered location. So typically, we do have a dedicated Den of Viterbi exam coordinator to assist if you need assistance with, determining a location that is most convenient to you, whether it's your home or your work office, or even if you have to travel for work, as long as you let her know within, at least 2 weeks in advance, you can work with her to get guidance in terms of where to take your exams at that time, because you would need to take your exams as close to the exam time that's taking place on campus to ensure the equity of your degree, which is going to be the same exact degree whether you earn it online or on campus. There's no difference whatsoever. Now, some just additional information. So Den of Viterbi students, in addition to being able to apply for formal admission, you also could get started potentially as a limited status student as early as this coming summer, which starts as early as May. But in order to be qualified for limited status, you do have to have an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, hard science, or a related field to the degree that you would like to eventually pursue. And it needs to be from a regionally accredited institution and a cumulative GPA of at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. Now, if you don't have that 3.0 or above, then you would not be qualified for limited status, but instead you can apply for formal admission. That way your application can be reviewed in a comprehensive manner. And limited status is also limited in the sense that you can only take up to 12 units, and limited status does not guarantee that you'll be formally admitted. So if you are planning to later on pursue a master's degree or grad certificate program, you still have to go through the formal admission process eventually. And then in terms of funding, so we do have an employer reimbursement deferment program. This is for those whose companies will reimburse them for their tuition. But rather than paying out of pocket up front, you can defer your upfront payment of up to 90% of your tuition until after the semester is over. So that a lot of our corporate students do take advantage of this. If this pertains to you, we do encourage you to go to the website there for more details and to request that each semester. This is the current tuition structure up until summer 2022. So again, you'll always want to consult the website for more details about the most current information. But you can see there the per unit tuition rate, as well as for 3 units versus 4 unit courses as well. And so I know that I had previously mentioned the on-campus scholarship deadline, but for our online Den of Viterbi students, we have a separate Den of Viterbi scholarship that is completely separate from the formal admission application. And so these are merit-based scholarships. They are awarded to outstanding master's students who pursue their program entirely online via Den of Viterbi. They range from 1 to 4 units of tuition, and it's for those that are either not funded at all or partially funded by their employers. And you can reapply for the scholarship each year. There's a number of scholarships that we do award, and so you are definitely encouraged to apply. We do have a number for computer science and data science students as well. We have and in addition, you know, I don't know if I said this already, but you can actually receive the scholarship more than once. So again, we do encourage you to reapply as long as you stay within the eligibility criteria. Now, for newly admitted students or those with an admission application on file at the least, you do have to have an undergraduate cumulative GPA of at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. And so the scholarship deadline is going to be Monday, July 18th. So you do have some time, but it is a separate application. So again, you know, refer to the website for more details about the requirements and the application. So just some quick links to get started. For those of you interested in taking courses on campus, you're welcome to come to campus and visit. Of course, online students can come to campus and visit as well, but it's also very convenient to watch a virtual tour if you can't get to campus. We also encourage you to apply starting for spring 2023 if you're planning to pursue your program on campus, and that the spring 2023 application will be available in July. And then for those that are pursuing their program online via Dana Viterbi, we encourage you to reach out to us if you would like to be eligible for the fall 2022 extension, application deadline extension, and apply as early as possible. And then if you're interested in getting started as a limited status student as early as summer 2022, we do encourage you to complete the Dana Viterbi profile as early as possible, so that way you can find out whether or not you are approved to take courses as early as May, as early as May. All right, so now is your opportunity to ask questions. So I'm going to, I did see some questions here already. So question from Justin, what are your thoughts on data science in the future? Do you think jobs in data science will be automated, or will there still be a market demand? So Professor Hill, insights on that?
I was unmuting myself. Yeah, that's a really good question, Justin. And it shows that you've been doing your research in this area. So there are significant aspects of data science that a lot of students focus in today that will be automated. So for example, a lot of our students want to understand all these different machine learning techniques and knowing how to use different algorithms. And a lot of people in the workforce have jobs where they get some data set and some question, and they try out different algorithms. They'll try different parameters. They'll try to find what fits best and what's the best approach to use. And I believe that those processes will be automated within 5 years, 10 years for the hard kinds of data, because it's an optimization problem. You just have an optimization function and you just try to find the best approach for it. And so I think that those will not be the future. The future of data science is for people that really care to understand problems, hard problems and complex systems. So if you want to understand health and the body and how a lot of interacting systems really work and affect an individual's health, that's a challenging problem. And it means that you need to have the data science skills to apply tools and build the data systems and so on. But at the same time, listen to the doctors and the health providers that can guide the understanding of what the data is telling us and why certain questions are useful to ask. So the body as a complex system, the internet as a complex system. So managing, detecting misinformation and managing misinformation campaigns and aggression and bullying online, such a complex system that I think understanding what data is useful to collect, how do we look at the data, what are good questions to ask, what slices of data can help us understand problems rather than having a lot of noise around those problems. So whoever is able to embrace this discipline in the sense of caring about the questions, the problems, the data itself, really have a focus on the data and the problems, that will never go away. That's the future of data science. And that's what we are trying to do in training the future data scientists at USC.
Right. That's a very fantastic answer. Thank you for that. And I do see another question here. This is someone that's interested in the Master of Science Computer Science, Data Science. And so, for that question, for this particular session, we are, highlighting the data science and cybersecurity engineering programs. We will have a separate computer science spotlight, most likely in the fall or within the upcoming year. But, I think this is a great question, though, in terms of like, we do get a number of those that are, debating, should I apply for computer science, data science, or applied data science? Now, from the application perspective, in terms of the eligibility requirements, I do want to distinguish the fact that for those that are interested in a computer science, data science program, you do need to have an undergraduate degree in computer science, right? So and oftentimes we say, if you're interested in data science, don't have an undergraduate degree in computer science, we do encourage you to apply for the applied data science program. But, in terms of just other elements, right? So Professor Hill, for example, there are some that do have a computer science undergraduate degree program, but they're still debating between computer science, data science, and applied data science. And I know you definitely, you did a great job at kind of distinguishing the differences, but I guess, do you have any advice for somebody that's, debating between the two programs?
It's a very good question, a very clear question too. So if you have an undergraduate in computer science, you have these alternative choices, and both are very valid. So the master's in computer science with a concentration in data science, you will get a much stronger education in algorithms and foundational aspects of computer science. Remember that it's a master in computer science. The data science is, the electives and your concentration, but you will get a master's in computer science. So that's the goal with that program. Our program in applied data science is to give you the foundations in data science. So it's computing foundations of data science, but you won't be as focused on algorithms and the broader spectrum of computer science. So if you're sure that you want a career in data science and that is your passion, then the applied data science program is more appropriate. If you're not sure that in 3 years you won't want to get a job as a software engineer or a developer or a cybersecurity specialist or something else, you'll need that general education in computer science. So maybe that's the degree for you.
Great. It's really helpful.
I want to mention also that in the applied data science program, there are some computer science electives, and in the computer science master's, there is also the possibility of getting electives in the data science program. The data science program is part of computer science, so you're really being educated within a computer science department. That's very important also to point out.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. And I guess my last question that we often get as well is, for those that are maybe interested in research, are there any opportunities to do directed research for a master's student?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in fact, so when I mentioned earlier that we have these semester-long Data Fest projects where faculty advise a group of 4 or 5 students to work with real data, with real questions, a lot of those projects, the vast majority, are really research projects. So for example, I can tell you that there's one that has been going on for 3 semesters on understanding social media aggressions to climate scientists and the misinformation that is planted for climate science online. And so that's very much a research project where the students are looking at different aspects of that, assembling data, just making progress on it. Some of our projects have had to do with population health, for example, just understanding people's behaviors regarding nutrition. So the health sciences researchers do have the data for this. We also did another research project on aging, looking at bioinformatics data from different organisms and how they age differently. Very interesting project. Lots of different areas, too many to mention. A lot of our students also take our capstone class as an elective, which gives them an opportunity to work on a project with others that can be more research focused. And all around, there's a lot of also opportunities to get positions as student workers on campus on research projects. If you're a master's student, you can work a certain amount of hours a week on research. And many of us in the faculty take on master's students into research projects. Our research involves many times building scalable, large systems, whether for, I have projects in the climate impacts in droughts and flooding, for food availability in sub-Saharan Africa. That's a huge system with many aspects, a lot of complexity. So you would get a lot of exposure to very challenging research projects when you're here. You have to do well in your classes. You have to show that you have talent for research and for doing data science. And if so, you'll have many opportunities.
Great. Thank you so much. That's super helpful. We have run out of time, but I do want to say, for those of you that have additional questions, if you are planning to pursue your program on campus, you can go to the link there. Otherwise, online Dana Viterbi students, danaviterbi.usc.edu goes to myself as well as Marilyn, and we always do, our absolute best to respond within a 24-hour period on business days. But I want to say thank you so much, Professor Hill. It was amazing. It was so insightful to hear from you today. And for those of you that joined us, hopefully you found it helpful as well. But we hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Have a great rest of your day and your rest of your week. And as we say at USC, fight on. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.